Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 126th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Spartan Leonidas, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Killer B. If you notice, he's still putting that Elite's name at the beginning of his name. Remember, that's an ancient clan from the roots of RTW that I think he's still trying to keep alive by using that particular name. And then we have Brotherhood member LIONDWARF, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. And then myself, Spartan Commander, who has also bought the Rome Julii faction. So there's our team there. I think Spartan Leonidas has been playing Rome for maybe 10 years, and I think Killer's been playing for 8 or 9 years. And as you know, I've been playing it since it's first come out. So we've actually got a lot of experience on our team. But you wait till you see the other team. Really great modern players, and this should be a great battle for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have TNG THOR, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. Then we have TNG ODIN, who has also bought the Rome Brutii faction. As you know now, Odin is in the Titans clan. And then we have COH ORMAN Lang, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have Titans MOHAMED, who has also bought the Rome Scipio faction. Just going to pause the game here for a second. And just to say that this team facing us are regular RTW players. Veterans watching this will know what I mean when I say that if you play RTW regularly, you kind of get into a winning edge to your game. You get kind of a winning edge to your game because you play it so regularly. And I think that RTW players watching this game will know that these four are really good players, and whenever you fight them, you know you're going to get a great game. But if you look at our team, you can see that I think Spartan Leonidas and Killer B and myself, we tend to only come onto RTW on a Friday and Saturday night now. So and I think LIONDWARF, he plays a bit more regularly than that, but not a great deal more. So you can see that our team's got the experience with all the years that we've been playing Rome Total War, but we haven't got that day-to-day playing edge that the other team has got. So this should be a great game for you to watch. It's kind of a bit like the old experienced ones against the new modern players. As I say, should be a good one for you to watch. As you can see here, right from the very beginning, you can see that Titans MOHAMED is running his cavalry across with a view to actually crashing into the flank of my infantry as I'm running to the centre to form up with my teammates. What he would love to do is to crash in with his cavalry straight into the flank of my infantry as they're running. If you notice, his allies brought cavalry across as well, and he's also bringing his infantry across. If you notice here though that as I'm moving over to my allies, I'm getting support from LIONDWARF, who's bringing his cavalry over. He's spotted the danger. He's bringing his cavalry over to help cover me. If you notice, I've brought my cavalry out to the left flank of my running infantry now to counter any cavalry hit that might be coming into my infantry. But you notice LIONDWARF's coming across, and if you notice, my other ally Killer has brought his cavalry across as well. Now, new players watching this, do you remember what I've said through all our battle videos? Teamwork, helping each other out on the battlefield, very important if you want to win the overall battle. And if you see, two of my allies there saw there was a problem on this left flank and have sent support units out to help. Nice teamwork there. If you notice now that that Killer's actually pushing his cavalry even forward, even more forward now, to make sure there's no chance of any lightning hits by cavalry onto my infantry as they're running. But a nice bit of teamwork there by my teammates. They're helping me out. And as I say, new players watching this, I know I say this a lot on our battle videos, but you must be battlefield aware. And what we mean by that is you need to keep an eye on what's happening all over the battlefield, so you can send units to help your your allies if it's needed there. As you can see, I'm running my infantry as fast as I can up to the centre, and if you notice that the enemy Scipio infantry are poised almost there to attack, but with all the cavalry support we've got there, I doubt very much whether they'll try to attack now. But as I say, it was great team support there by KILLA and LIONDWARF there. I say, with all the experience in this game and the great modern players, this should be a great one for you to watch. At this early stage of the battle, you can see, I thought I'd give you, if you like, an overview of the entire battlefield here, so you can actually see us all squaring up to each other, if you like. What I like about these big 4v4 large battles, the scale is really great. I think it's nice to see. I just thought I'd show new players to this. Can you see that my cavalry is sat in a darkened area of the battlefield? That's long grass. And if you look, you can see that my cavalry are hiding in the long grass. Now, the enemy know that I have got cavalry, but they're not quite sure where they are. And I always tend to put them in the long grass there to keep the enemy guessing where they are. So when you play on this map, if you put units into that darkened area, you'll be hiding them from the enemy view. Of course, it does. Your general unit always shows wherever it is on the battlefield, but other units can hide in the long grass. You can see a bit of pilot exchanging going on here in the right centre of the battlefield between KILLA's SBQR army and the enemy Brutii army there. But as you can see, it looks like the action could be kicking off in that right centre area there. Knowing KILLA how aggressive he is, it probably could well start there. As you can see here on the left flank here, you can see the enemy has brought over a couple of pilot shield units to pilot my pilot shield units here. So there's a bit of exchanging of pilots going on there on this left flank. So it'll be interesting to see where the action actually does start off on this battlefield. You can see LIONDWARF, I think, has bought 17 infantry units there and only 3 cavalry. So it'll be interesting to see if the extra number of infantry offset only having 3 units of cavalry. That should be an interesting thing to spot there. They say in the right centre here, this is where it seems to be a little bit of the action starting there. And over on our far right flank, you can see there's several units in Testudo there. So my guess is a little bit more defensive up on this right flank. But I think when it kicks off, this should be really good. At this stage of the battle, you can see there is still a lot of action going on that right centre area of the battlefield there. See the enemy Brutii cavalry and infantry charging forward there against KILLA's SBQR army there. If you notice, our ally is charging in his cavalry there to try and take a bit of pressure off of his ally. He's hit that Brutii, I think that unit was in Testudo. It's a nice little hit there by our allies Julii cavalry there. But always remember, when you charge your cavalry in this situation, you are susceptible to pilot damage, so always be kind of a little bit careful in hit, pull out, so you don't suffer so many casualties from the enemy pilots. If you notice, there's a heck of a lot of cavalry there on that right centre area behind the enemy main battle line there, looking like they're almost ready to charge in and try and do what we in the Brotherhood call the ride-over tactic. This is where large groups of cavalry kind of charge forward and try and rout the army in front of them there. But there certainly is a lot of enemy cavalry there ready to charge in when I think they feel the time is right. If you notice, I've moved my cavalry over to that right centre area as well to back up my allies, just in case there is a big massive cavalry attack there. You see, with all that cavalry there, it reminds me of, like I said in other battle videos, like the hammers cocked on the rifle, almost ready to pull the trigger for them to come in. So I got a feeling when it does come in, it's going to be massive here. You can see the cavalry starting to charge in there now. If the larger units start charging in, then everybody probably start coming in. Right, can you see all the enemy cavalry charging in now into that area? nearly all the enemy cavalry. Can you see there's one big force of enemy cavalry hasn't charged in yet? Now they're charging in. And now can you see my cavalry at the back is now going to charge in there. I was just waiting for them to go in. And I'm going to charge my cavalry in here and hopefully going to try and stem or blunt the attack of that massive enemy cavalry hit that's just come in. Can you see how many of our allies' units are starting to rout there? And all I can do with my cavalry hit is, as I say, just try and blunt that massive cavalry hit that they've just sent in. Can you see more enemy cavalry coming in here? With this much cavalry charging in, this is where a lot of armies start to rout, because all that cavalry charge bonus, the massive impact, plus they've sent infantry in there as well. This is where you can actually get your army to actually mass rout if you're not careful. So KILLA did really well there to keep his army intact and holding there. I noticed that Spartan LEONIDAS has sent some reinforcements over there to try and shore up this right centre of our line, but as you can see, the enemy have decided that this is where they're going to attack now. You can see infantry and cavalry going into that area. As you can see, we're throwing in cavalry hits here, just trying to blunt the attack, trying to cause as many casualties as we can. As I say, get the full cavalry charge bonus and then pull back out again. As you can see, I'm just charging my Julii cavalry in, again in response to that massive infantry and cavalry surge that they've just done. All I'm hoping to do is try and blunt that, but if I can rout some of their units as well, then all the better. As you can see, my ally charged his cavalry in as well. We've managed to rout a lot of the Brutii infantry and cavalry there. But if you look at all the enemy units that are being piled into that area there, you can see that we'll be lucky to hold this position, because if they break through there, then that'll give them obviously a massive advantage in this battle if they can do that. Look at all that enemy cavalry, just kind of, like I said, like the hammers cocked on the rifle. It's almost just like they're going to pull the trigger and charge them. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. As you can see here on the right flank, Spartan LEONIDAS has still got some units there that he can send into the fray. But here in the right centre, remember we saw the action starting to kick off there earlier, and we wondered if this is where the battle might start, and it certainly looks like it has now. Remember that the green and the blue are the enemy troops, and the red and the purple are our troops. So if you just look at it from that point of view, can you see how many enemy units are in that area? And all that cavalry just waiting to charge in. A little bit further along the left centre, you can see LIONDWARF here is aggressively being attacked by the enemy in front, and over to our left flank here you can see it's a little bit quiet, but at the moment this right centre is where the action is, and it'll be interesting to see if we can hold against that massive attack they've put in there. If you notice here on the right, you can see that Spartan LEONIDAS is moving units out to the right, probably with a view to flank the enemy line there. But as you can see in this right centre unit, this is a fierce battle going on here, and I'm sure people watching this would say they're not going to sure which way this is going to go. But with all that cavalry primed, ready to go in there, I don't think things are looking that good for the Brotherhood team at this particular point. Spartan LEONIDAS has sent a lot of its units in there to try and shore up this part of the battlefield. Over on the far left, you can see that the enemy Scipii units are trying to flank my my army there by taking units out to the right flank. Meanwhile, back here in the right centre here, you can see I'm charging my cavalry in here, hoping to rout some of the enemy Brutii units there. And you can see that the enemy Brutii cavalry are counter-attacking in that area. So that is one fierce battle going on there in that one particular area. Can you see Spartan LEONIDAS now has brought units out to the far right and is now going to attack in a flanking action here on the enemy battle line. That's a nice little strategic move by him. Can you see now, it seems to me like the enemy's emphasis has shifted now. They seem to be trying to smash in the centre left here now, trying to kill our Julii ally there, rather than keep the momentum going on that right centre area. They seem to have shifted their attack. maybe they thought they may well have got it won in this particular area here with the numbers they've got, so they're going to shift to another part of the battlefield. That might be the strategy they're kind of using there. Just going to pause the game there so we can take stock of what's actually happening again here. You can see a lot of the Brutii infantry on this right flank are beginning to rout. You can see that Spartan Leonidas is taking units round the rear and the right of the flank, but if you look, you can still see there's a heck of a lot of enemy troops left in that area. And over here in the centre left, you can see that as I say, the enemy seems to have shifted their emphasis of attack, and they're now attacking the centre left. And over on our left flank here, you can see that the enemy have got some units around my flank, as well as units in the front of me here. So what I'm just hoping to do is just try and hold this army up for as long as I can, hopefully give my allies chance to kind of deal with the situation in other parts of the battlefield there. Back to the right centre area where the action just kicked off. If you notice that Spartan Leonidas' units that he's brought around the rear now, can you see it's routing a lot of the enemy units there. A lot of those enemy units were battle damaged, and their morale would have been low because of that. And with the enemy in behind them, our SPQR troops in behind them, plus my cavalry charging in, then their morale is going to drop so much that they're going to start to rout. So if you see now, the right flank and the right centre, we seem to have won in these two areas now, and now we're going to start bringing our troops over from the right to the left to try and roll their line up. But there's still a heck of a lot of enemy troops left here in this battle area. If you notice here, all I'm trying to do is just hold up the enemy army here, just keeping their interest on my army, hopefully allowing my allies to be able to come over when they're ready. If you notice my cavalry, I've still got cavalry units, but instead of helping myself out here, I'm using my cavalry units to charge into the enemy in other parts of the battlefield. What I'm trying to do is to help my allies destroy as many of the enemy units as I can, so that will release their units to come and help me. So rather than use cavalry to help my infantry out, I prefer to look at the bigger picture on the battlefield and try and help my allies out. So as I said, they would be able to get reinforcements over to help me out. As you can see, the few infantry units I got left now are getting pretty well surrounded by the Scipii infantry there, but my allies are moving across now. Now, if you notice here, my guess is that Scipii cavalry is going to charge in a final attempt to try and rout my infantry here. There you go. Can you see the Scipii cavalry going? And bang! Bearing in mind I'm surrounded by Scipii infantry as well, he was probably hoping for a mass rout there. But with my allies coming over now to support, and there you go, you can see that the enemy Scipii units now have now routed. He may well have admitted defeat there as well when he saw what was coming his way there. You can see there's still some enemy Brutii units left that have rallied. But I'd just like to show you the intensity of the battlefield here. If you can see with the dead. Remember, over on this right centre, that's where all the action kicked off. Can you see all the dead there? Especially the cavalry. Loads and loads of cavalry. And then you can see how the battle kind of goes on to the left centre and round to the left flank there. But as you can see, it's a very intense battle here, especially on this right centre and right flank there. As I say, there's just a few of the enemy Brutii units left, which I'm sure we'll bring units over to finish them off any time now. But I must say, when the action started off on that right centre there, and the battle kind of really got intense there, I think, to be honest, it could have gone either way, and it was quite exciting to see, really, because you just didn't know who was going to win there. One cavalry charge timed just a little bit differently, maybe, or some infantry brought in from a separate angle. You know, anything like that, or little things like that on the battlefield can change an overall picture. But as you can see, the last of the enemy units, Brutii units, are now being killed now. So I shouldn't think it'd be long till the end of the battle there. As you can see, the last couple. There you go. I think that's the last enemy units on the battlefield now. But as I say, it was a very intense battle, and especially on this on the right centre and right flank there. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. There were some fantastic infantry moves, some fantastic cavalry hits. I thought the enemy team played extremely well there. I noticed there was a lot of support units moving in to help their teammates there. The big cavalry hits coming in at the right time. They played extremely well there. So well done to the enemy team. I'd just like to say really well done to LIONDWARF, KILLA and Spartan Leonidas in my team. I thought they played extremely well there, especially as you saw at the beginning when my army was under threat from being hit by the enemy coming across fast. They sent units over to help. As I say, new players watching this, you know, it's very important that you help each other out. Here's the battle statistics here. As you see, my army is the first army at the top there. If you look at the kills, especially some of my cavalry units, look at how many men my cavalry units seem to kill, and you can have a good look at what the infantry did as well there. I thought it's just something a little bit more interesting so you can see the battle statistics there. So anyway, it was a great battle to be in. Once again, really well played to the other team, and really well played to my allies. Great support work all over the battlefield by both teams, and some really great cavalry hits. Spartan Commanders saying see you soon.